You're sitting here and you are laughing about some of these problems. Are people going to look at this and say, I mean, he's sitting there just making jokes about money with him? How do you deal with it? I mean, explain your mood and your laughter.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be
a punch drunk?
No, there's got to be a little gallows humor to get you through the day.
All right, Billy Cunningham live with you every Sunday night, and those are the comments of Barack Hussein Obama tonight on 60 Minutes. He was on ESPN, then on a late-night comedy show, The Tonight Show, in which I think he made some nasty comments about vulnerable citizens. Then tonight he's on 60 Minutes for, I think, the umpteenth time. And Steve Kroft of 60 Minutes continue to get interviews because he throws the softballs, but that was a pretty good one. Are you punch drunk? Today on the Drudge Report, the big headline is Senator Judd Gregg of New Hampshire, Obama budget will bankrupt the U.S. of A. Senator Judd Gregg of New Hampshire also says that Obama's massive budget proposal will bankrupt America. He said he had no regrets in withdrawing his nomination to become Commerce Secretary. He pulled out after deciding he could not fully back the administration's economic policies. Plus tomorrow, Timothy Geithner, TurboTax Tim, who's heading up the IRS, and didn't correctly file his taxes and lied about it repeatedly, is going to announce another $1 trillion bailout of the nation's banks. I don't know what the number is. I've read from the Wall Street Journal and Barron's that it might be as high as $9 trillion. And there's another report out tonight from the Congressional Budget Office that the actual deficit that will be caused by the policies of Barack Hussein Obama should end up to be something in the range of $10 trillion, which is about a doubling of the national debt. This fella has been in office now about 9 weeks. I don't know how we afford the guy. I have no idea. In 9 weeks, he has taken a crisis and possibly made it into a catastrophe. When you have a credit crisis and a banking crisis, the last thing to do at that point is to have national health insurance, to have national windmills, to have a gross increase in federal spending on education. He's using this crisis as an excuse to implement a left-wing socialist policy that has been rejected by almost every administration, including Bill Clinton's, over the past 40 or 50 years. A couple of weeks ago, it was Rush Limbaugh was scapegoated. And what's been happening this week? It's AIG and the executives. God knows those executives do not deserve $165 million in bonuses. But to scapegoat them, to have the Democrats and the Republicans in the Congress target them with specific acts of federal legislation is unconstitutional. It's a bill of attainment. It's something that's been, they can't do constitutionally what they're doing. And they do it anyway to scapegoat AIG executives, to get your eye off what the Obama administration is doing. The Nazis used the Jews to scapegoat, and many times communists have used outrageous internal or external forces to scapegoat. Khomeini in Iran scapegoated and kept his people under subjugation by having them focus on first Iraq and then America, death to America, and they forgot about their own problems. And right now that classic ploy is being used by the Obama administration to get your mind onto Rush Limbaugh or onto AIG and ignore what they're doing to the American economy. Senator Judd Gregg of New Hampshire is a very respected Republican. And he is now saying that this will bankrupt the United States of America. Think about this. We've gone through since 1776, 1787, the first election in 1788 of George Washington. We've gone through, 221 years? 221 years. And this guy, in the first 55 days, has taken America to the brink of bankruptcy, and he laughs about it tonight with Steve Kroft of CBS 60 Minutes. Kroft asked him tough questions like, how are things going? How's the wife and the kids? But then he did note to Barack Hussein Obama, are you punch drunk? Are you punch drunk? That's what 60 Minutes said to Obama. Are you punch drunk? Because he's laughing inappropriately at the status of this country. Is it great to make fun of disabled Americans who have autism or physical or emotional mental disabilities, to compare your bad bowling to being in the Special Olympics? Is that appropriate, do you think? Is the president next going to go on The View? Is he going to go back maybe to Comedy Central and the Colbert Report? Maybe Jon Stewart? What's he going to do? Is this appropriate? It is absolutely incredible. The United States of America, where do we go if we have to file bankruptcy? Right now, the national debt is about $11 trillion. $11 trillion, which almost doubled under the Bush administration. In fact, having done some research, remember these numbers. $6.5 trillion of the accumulated national debt is owed to persons, corporations, governments, and lenders, foreign or domestic. $6.5 trillion is owed that way. $4.3 trillion is owed to the fund, Social Security benefits, military and civil service pensions. So that's $10.8 trillion. In the next 8 to 9 years, on the spending plans of Obama, that will double. And Bush caught flack for enlarging the federal deficit about $4.5 trillion. This guy's going to more than double what George Bush did. More than double. The United States of America is going bankrupt, according to Senator Judd Gregg. The reaction is he's laughing about it. Well, isn't that inappropriate? But at the Gridiron Dinner the other night in Washington, and the first president since Rutherford B. Hayes to skip the Gridiron Dinner in his first year in office since Rutherford B. Hayes about 135 years ago is Barack Hussein Obama. Vice President Joe Biden pokes fun at his boss during the Gridiron. He made reference to the fact that Obama's birth certificate was left by Dick Cheney in his desk. So there's more and more and more information at worldnetdaily.com by my friend Joseph Farah about the status of Barack Hussein Obama's birth certificate. And despite all the interviews, including the one tonight by Steve Kroft of CBS's 60 Minutes, not one question has been asked. Mr. President, will you finally produce a true copy of your birth certificate or tell the governor of Hawaii, Governor Lingle, to release your birth certificate? Are you willing to do that? Now let's continue. Another $1 trillion plan will be announced tomorrow, which is buying the toxic assets of the banks. You might recall that Geithner's predecessor in title, Henry Paulson, original bank plan last October was to buy the toxic assets. That was the so-called Paulson plan of the banks. Within 6 weeks, Paulson rejected the Paulson plan and decided to buy stock. Now here we are 6 months later and 1 year after the failure of Bear Stearns. This thing's been going on now for 6 months and a year. Guess what? We're now back to buying the toxic assets of banks, which are worth anywhere from 0 to 60 cents on the dollar for about $1 trillion. And one might ask, I'll raise my hand in the back of the room, where is the $1 trillion coming from? One of three sources: from the Red Chinese, from taxes, or from the printing press. If we buy them from the Red Chinese, that means that the interest on that will bankrupt future generations. If we tax the American people more, that will stop future growth because the American private economy cannot take any more hits. Or thirdly, if the printing presses are used, which is what Ben Bernanke said would happen when he was on the national interview of 60 Minutes last week, Ben Bernanke, that means all the dollars that you have will be worth less because more and more dollars are in circulation. So $1 trillion more to the banks. And I am flabbergasted with the idea that Barack Hussein Obama's approval ratings remain between 57 and 60%. He may be more popular than his programs are, but nonetheless, when you watch this guy day after day after day making fun of the disabled, making fun of the Secret Service, laughing about the nation's problems, you wonder if this guy is up to the job. Does he know what he's doing? Has he ever run anything other than the Harvard Law Review, which isn't much of a group to run? He's the only editor of the Harvard Law Review in American history, having never been published before or after when he was at Harvard. He was selected because of affirmative action, because there was a dispute between the African American Student Union and the Harvard faculty, so they put one of the black guys in charge of the Harvard Law Review, and he never wrote anything. I'm a lawyer, University of Toledo, Ohio Law School. Had some great professors there like Ron Raitt and many others, and guess what? You get to be the editor of the Law Review at a normal law school by writing, and writing well. Obama did none of that to get the Harvard Law Review position. What has he run since then? The answer is nothing. Now he's running the executive branch of government with 2.6 million employees, and he's laughing about the nation's problems, poking fun at the disabled, and laughing and poking fun at the Secret Service. Well, what's he going to be on next? SpongeBob SquarePants? I have no idea. It's an amazing thing you and I are watching. Scares the hell out of me. According to Senator Judd Gregg, the United States of America will be bankrupt. And if we file bankruptcy, what does that mean? Do we go through a Chapter 7, Chapter 11? What does it mean? We default on $11 trillion in debts, 45% of which are owed to senior citizens and retired military, no Social Security, no Medicare, no Medicaid, no pensions for civil servants who have worked their whole life in government to earn it. Is that what that means? The answer is yes. No one then would ever buy our debt. The American dollar in value would crash and become like Zimbabwe. And by the way, when Governor Sanford of South Carolina referred to America becoming like Zimbabwe, idiots in the Black Congressional Caucus made that into a racial comment to shut up Governor Sanford of South Carolina. And I pray to God that good governor does not shut the hell up, because it is not in the interest of the nation. And thank you, Sarah Palin and other governors, for not accepting the stimulus package, the stimulus money. It's an incredible thing. Stimulus. Stimulus, stimulus, stimulus. The desk upon which Obama signed the stimulus package was the same one used by Clinton to get his package stimulated. The last two Democrats. It's unbelievable. And today I saw Charlie Rangel again blame the Bush administration for the failure of Fannie and Freddie. It was the Democrats. Go to the New York Times article of 1999. It was the Democrats from the Congress demanding that they institutionalize in Fannie and Freddie loans to their core constituency groups. The Democrats sent the letters. The Democrats wouldn't hold hearings. The Democrats blocked George Bush in 2004 and 2005 from enacting those reforms. The Democrats did all that. They're relying upon your stupidity to be successful. Who will next be scapegoated? They've gone through Rush Limbaugh. They've gone through the executives of AIG. Who are the next scapegoats for the weeks coming up? So now that the government caused this problem, how can government be the solution? If credit and creditworthiness and sloppy spending cause this problem,